What's up, everybody? It's your boy aka Big Zeke, coming at y'all with another weekly inspirational thought. I thank those who have been praying for me over the last few weeks. One of these days, I will go into depth about what's been going on with me as part of my testimony. But I pray that y'all continue to pray for me as I continue to pray for you and your families. And we're going to dive right into this week's thought, which is entitled, Be Careful of the Company You Keep. Be careful of the company you keep. Got a few reference scriptures. As always, those will be listed in the comment section below. And here we go. The first one is coming from Romans chapter 12, verse 2. And it reads, And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. The next is coming from First Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. Be not deceived. Evil communications corrupt good manners. The next is coming from Galatians chapter 1, verse 10. For do I now persuade men or God? Or do I seek to please men? For if I yet pleased men, I should not be the servant of Christ. Proverbs 4:23 reads, Keep thy heart with all diligence, for out of it are the issues of life. In the NIV version, that is above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. Okay? So we're talking about being careful of the company that you keep. A lot of times, if we examine who we really allow into our circles, if we're honest with ourselves, there probably is some shuffling that we may have to do in the lineup, so to speak. And sometimes we got to do that cleaning. Not that we're better than anybody, not that anybody's better than us or anybody's worse off, but sometimes, people grow apart, people change, people got different paths they're going on, and unfortunately, everybody can't go with you on your path with you because they have their own paths to go on. And so, sometimes we have to go apart just to come back together again, things of that nature. It's not necessarily always a bad thing. But you do have to be careful of the company you keep because sometimes we keep the wrong people. And that's what we're going to focus on today. We keep the wrong people and the wrong things around, which slow us down on what we're supposed to be doing for God and in God, okay? So, God blessed me with four thoughts this week. And the first is this. In the world today, a lot of people choose to be followers of the latest trends, fashions, hot topics, influential people, celebrities, etc. But we must be careful of who and what we are following because sometimes who and what you follow, that sometimes the things that you're following could possibly lead you away from God and who He has created you to be. Whoever and whatever you surround yourself with, you can ultimately become. Okay? How do I know that? Well, Romans 12 and 2 says, And be not conformed to this world, but be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind, that ye may prove what is that good and acceptable and perfect will of God. Why would He want us not to be conformed to this world? See, God knew that in this world we can become conformed to it if we're not renewing our minds. If we're not renewing our minds, or if we're not allowing our minds to be renewed, God already knew that we could be conformed and trapped by the things of this world. That's why He allowed the writer here, Paul, to say this to the Roman church. He said, Be not conformed. Don't get trapped in the stuff of this world. Okay? And the second scripture I know that is from this Galatians chapter 6, verse 1, and I'll read the NIV. Brothers and sisters, if someone is caught in a sin, you who live by the Spirit should restore that person gently, but watch yourselves, or you also may be tempted. See, it's nothing wrong with helping people. It's nothing wrong with praying for people. I do it all the time. There's nothing wrong with being there for people. But you have to be careful in some situations because sometimes some people in some situations will draw you in and take you out of what you're supposed to be in and draw you into the midst of their web or into their mess that they got going on. And that's not a good thing for you. It's not saying that you think you're better than anybody. It's just being careful so that you can do what you have to do for God and do it effectively and fully. Nothing wrong with helping people. Nothing wrong with being there for people. Nothing wrong with going to say hi to people. You know what I mean? Nothing wrong with going, to catch a quick bite with somebody. But if you know that person is engaging in toxicity and trying to, get you to go down that rabbit hole, then it's probably your best interest to keep those visits short and sweet. Not because you're better than them, not because you're judging them, but because you don't want to go down that rabbit hole. And if you're trying to get anywhere better in life, sometimes the best thing to do is to avoid certain situations or certain people until, that toxicity leaves. Because that's not what you need in your life and that's not what's good for you at that moment. Okay? The next point is this. Not only is it important to watch who and what we follow, but it's equally important that we watch who we listen to. Whether it's getting advice, general conversations, music, movies, social media, entertainment that we watch, listen to, and sometimes even those who are praying for us, and so forth. Because if we don't, this too could take us away from God down a wrong path or paths in life. How do I know this? Be not deceived. Evil corrupt communications corrupt good manners, and that was 1 Corinthians chapter 15, verse 33. We have to be careful what we're letting in our ear gates as well as our eye gates. Because the things we watch and we hear and we take in, that could play it could play a positive effect on our lives or it could play a negative one. So we have to be careful and kind of, sift through what we're watching. You know, I remember my godfather used to have this phrase. He used to tell us as kids, eat the watermelon but spit out the seeds. Uh, you take in the good things that you need, but spit out the stuff that you don't. If you hear somebody and they're a motivational speaker or whatever the case is, they're saying something that's beneficial to you, take it in. But if they're saying something that takes away and detracts from your life, spit that out. Don't keep that. We have to be careful who or what we're around as well as who or what we're listening to and taking in. Not because they're bad, not because they have evil intentions, but simply on the strength that what they necessarily may be saying in that moment may not be for you. And because it's not for you, it can lead you down a wrong way of thinking, a wrong way of acting, a wrong way of executing in your own life. And that's not good. See, the goal for us all is to be the very best we can be while we're here, to do the best that we can while we're here. Will we make mistakes? Sure. Will we mess up? Sure. But if we can avoid certain traps and slip ups, then why not do that? If we can avoid making certain mistakes just by simply not listening to this or not watching that or not being around this person or not being around that thing, why? Why not do that? Make it easier on ourselves. We got to separate and watch and be careful of what we're taking in. Not just what we're listening to, but also what we're watching. We got to be careful because that stuff can get to you. It's certain things I used to watch when I was a kid, I don't watch anymore. Certain things I used to watch in my 20s that I don't watch anymore. Certain types of movies, certain types of things I don't watch anymore. Not because I'm just this super spiritual person or all this other stuff, or not because I'm just above or all this other stuff. No, simply because it doesn't help me. It doesn't help me get better. It doesn't help me as a person get better. It detracts, it takes away, it puts me in an old mindset that I shouldn't be in with certain stuff. So I have to stop watching it. I have to stop listening to it. And that's how we have to be. Okay? The third point is this. Sometimes people only keep you around them because of what you can do, what you do, or what you can do for them. Those kinds of people, in some cases, also want you to be available at all times whenever they need you, as well as want all of your attention. But be careful of these type of people being in your circle, because the moment that you don't or can't benefit them, and I'm saying that one from experience, and the minute that they feel like they don't have your full attention, these same kinds of people will leave you high and dry. If we focus our attention on God, who we should be focused on anyways, and learn to please Him, we won't have to worry about being left high and dry when we need Him. God ain't gonna leave us high and dry. How do I know this? Okay. Galatians 1 and verse 10 says, "For do I now persuade men or God, or do I seek to please men? For if I yet please men, I should not be the servant of Christ." And then Matthew 6 and 21 says, "For where your treasure is, there will your heart be also." So, why is those scriptures important to what I just read off? Well, here's why. When those types of people that I just, read about there in my notes, when those type of people come around you, their treasure is not placed in you. They're just using you for what you can do for them in the moment. Their treasure is elsewhere. Because if their treasure was focused solely on you, they would be more attentive to what's important to you. They would be more attentive to you succeeding as well as them succeeding. So this is why that's important. Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. These type of people, typically their heart ain't with you. It just seems like they're with you in the moment because they're in your corner. Yeah, you're the best. You can do this, you can do that. But as soon as you take that attention away, as soon as you can't, or as soon as you're unable to, it's the "what have you done for me lately" mentality. They won't call and check on you. They don't pay attention to you. Shoot, you probably don't even exist to them if you ain't doing nothing for them. And unfortunately, that's how a lot of people are in today's society. It's not, and in some cases, I'm finding out it's not even that they do it on purpose. It's just how they are. It's just what they were showed. That's what they were taught how to be in life. Unfortunately, and all you can do is pray for them. You don't judge them. Just pray for them and move on. But you have to be careful of those type of people. You have to watch. You have to be careful who you let in there. Because if those type of people are in your circle, that's a dangerous spot. And I say that from experience because I've been around a few people like that in my lifetime. And no, I'm not going to air them out, y'all. Because it was my fault for letting them in there because I should have been paying attention. Okay? But people will do that. And people only going to do what you allow them to do in your life. Y'all heard me say that in another video a while back. People are only going to do in your life what you allow them to do. So if you call yourself trying to please everybody and not focus on God and, oh, okay, I'm going to do this for this, because then I know they'll be cool with me then. And you focused on caring about what they think, those will be the same people. The people you're trying to please the most, those will be the same ones that'll leave you when you get in trouble. When you get in trouble, you reach out to them and they pull away and they say, "Oh, I can't help you," or they'll just disappear on you. So you got to be careful keeping those kind of people around and trying to please those kind of people. The only person we should be focusing on pleasing is God, and God will place the right people and the right things in our lives. God will place who we need in our lives there when we need it. But we got to be careful to make sure the wrong ones aren't there, because God ain't going to place the wrong people in your life. That's one thing we know for sure. He ain't going to give you the wrong people. He ain't going to place the wrong type of people in your life. So when you see a wrong person there, God, please take them out. Take them away from me, God. Anybody that need to be removed, please remove them. You know? So the last point is this. It is imperative that we are careful of who or what we allow into our hearts as well as our lives. Letting the wrong people, things, values, etc. in can and most times do lead to bad things in our lives. But when we learn to allow God and who and what he places into our lives, we always come out on top for the better by the grace of God. God will place the right people around us in our journey of life. So we shouldn't settle for just anybody or anything being part of our lives, especially if it's taking us away from God and if he didn't place them or that thing there in the first place. How do I know this? Proverbs 23. Above all else, guard your heart, for everything you do flows from it. I just said it a minute ago. God will provide the right people. God will provide who needs to be in your life, who doesn't need to be in your life. Let God provide. Let God set the right people in your life, or let the right people come into your path. And try to, and we all, and this is something I had to learn to do, and I'm encouraging y'all to do. Not telling y'all, because I can't tell y'all to do anything, but encouraging y'all. Start praying and saying, hey, God, if there's anybody in my circle or anybody around me that don't need to be there, please remove them. And whoever needs to be there, please add them. Because you don't want the wrong people taking you down and pulling you down and weighing you down. You just want the right people there helping push you up. And you also want to be the right person that's there pushing them up. You know, it's not just a me type of thing. It's, I always want to be the type of person who is helping lift people and not tearing anybody down. But at the same time, I only want people around me who God allows around me that's helping build me up. It's a two-way street. Okay? We got to be careful with the company we keep, because if we not, we'll slow ourselves down and we'll slow our progress down. And that's not what God wants for us. Okay? That's all I got for this week. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Continue to keep me in your prayers as I pray for you and yours. Have a great week, a blessed week. Take care of each other. Love one another. Be careful with the company that you're keeping. Pray about it. And as always, be inspired.